You're listening to Kelly and Steve, and this is coupled with chaos.
90-Day Fiancé Before the 90 Days, Season 7, Episode 19, Never Let Me Go. We made it to the end.
Oh, is that it? Thank goodness.
You didn't see the previews at the end?
No.
Yeah, you did, because you talked about Niles and Adnan getting in each other's faces.
Oh, right.
Preview.
That was a tell-all thing.
It's a hot mess. We are a day late because of you.
No.
What?
Because you and your football.
Go Lions. How about that, right?
That was you.
That was
100%
something.
you, baby.
Oh, it's working.
Don't forget it.
I get it. I'm not forgetting that. Sorry, all you people from Minnesota. You can all travel to the Rams and watch your Monday night game. We're going to take a week off.
We left Joy speechless that we were not watching the show last night because you were watching football.
Yeah.
She said she was speechless.
This was it, right? For anybody, I don't, probably not a lot of sports fans around, but for those of you who understand the plight of the Detroit Lions in the last 70 years, you understand exactly where I'm at, and that's
From pre-birth.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. Like, there are not even people around anymore. They showed some clip of people, like old dudes playing like pickleball, and Holden, our son, said, "Well, are those from the original the last championship team?" These dudes are just like 90-year-olds playing pickleball. Well, that could be. I doubt there's 5 of them around anymore. For us, this was a lot of people at the airport. A lot of airport scenes.
A lot of crying
this week.
and stuff.
Yeah, I guess since you went there, maybe let's go right straight to Joe and Magda. This scene with them, was it triggering at all for you?
Yeah, it seemed familiar.
Her sad puppy dog face is, I'm going to say, a classic. Like, actually, she's really good at it.
But I actually felt
what?
more related to the...
to Joe?
No.
Oh.
The scene with Niles and Matilda.
Well, I get that.
Crying and tears.
Well, she's just bawling.
Yeah. So was I.
But I think that's just more sad for them.
Watching it.
I'm thinking like Magda's, her pouty, tearful airport stuff.
Yeah, but honestly, with her,
I get it.
I feel like her tears are about. She said something that kind of triggered me a little bit about I can only stay in Poland so long without a job.
Well, yeah, this is something.
And I was like, wait a minute. So this is about leaving Poland because you don't want to have to work?
Yeah.
Like, that seemed really loaded to me. Yeah. I didn't like it.
I wrote down, I did do that, and she said that. I went, there's nothing stopping you from working.
Except she doesn't want to.
What are you going to do with your time?
She wants somebody to take care of her, is what it is.
But she doesn't want to be in Poland.
Right.
Yeah. And this not working, not doing something in a scenario like this really
is dumb. Well, you're going to need a lot of money for a K-1 visa. I don't know if any of these people have realized this yet.
And not only the money, but your time of worrying. And do you think in all of her free time, my thought is she's just going to be constantly texting and calling him.
And suspicious and accusatory, yes.
The idle mind is just going to invent all sorts of things with a person you probably don't need to invent it because he's probably actually doing it.
Right. Yeah, so I didn't feel any warm fuzzies with them.
She wanted him to propose, and he got to the point where we thought the proposal would come, and he said, well, the next step is proposing. And I will do that in the near future. It's like,
right.
I just kind of chuckled. Oh.
And isn't that what you'd expect from him?
Yeah.
Yeah, a non-commitment commitment.
I thought a little bit when they were in that scene talking about that. I thought about like I was in a pretty serious relationship over there. And, that just was never a discussion. I was just... a year or so from getting married.
Yeah.
But it was never a topic of conversation and I was over there for years. It just never was at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I sat there and thought about it, I went, well, I wasn't even at that level. And, I'd been around somebody for years.
Right. That's kind of telling.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought that was kind of telling. And
you didn't even realize it at the time.
Right. I probably didn't even realize it until now. I think, well, that was an awfully involved relationship to never have that discussion.
Mm-hmm. Or you thought it was.
Well, yeah, maybe that's why she just kicked me to the curb.
Right.
That could be it.
She wasn't having that kind of feeling.
Maybe it was because it would have gotten to another level if we would have shared some goat cheese.
Gross.
That's what they were eating there.
Yeah, and all I could do was go, ew.
What's so bad about the goat cheese?
It's disgusting. It is the most hairy, stinky tasting.
Hairy cheese?
Hairy tasting, stinky tasting, smelliest thing that I've ever put in my mouth. I feel like I'm licking a goat's bunghole when I bring it to my face. Right. It's nasty. It tastes terrible.
Have I had this?
It's gross.
Have I had goat cheese?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I don't remember. I'm not as repulsed by this.
Hayden brought us a meal kit just before he moved away.
Oh.
And it had goat cheese in it. I said, I'm not using this. And I substituted something else. And you said, well, I'll eat it. And you ate it.
I don't remember being disgusted by it.
It was disgusting.
Nor do I remember doing it. So.
Well, you're so unimpressed by food in general. It's just so unremarkable to you, generally speaking, that this does not surprise me.
There's only a couple of things. Did I ever tell you about sweet potatoes thing?
Please don't.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. This makes me laugh. Oh.
Maybe it's just because you compare all things to that.
Right. If it doesn't taste as bad as sweet potatoes, then it's not a problem. I think once it comes back up for me, maybe it gets on the list.
Yeah.
Maybe, and it doesn't happen much. Joe referred to her as Magdalena a couple of times for the first time. I don't remember him saying that before, but at least he'd learned her real name.
He called her Magna or Magma before.
Magma.
So, remember?
Smegma is what he called her. Magdalena. So this should be better. Then maybe he would get it right. Maybe this was how he's going to say it in order to get her name right.
Surely.
It still all comes down to him lying. Did he seem genuine to you about his apology about lying?
It sounded okay. But I noted that the entire conversation, he was looking at the background beyond her.
That's not good.
At no point did he ever make direct eye contact during the entire conversation. This bothered me.
That's my thing.
It bothered me tremendously.
Because all during our podcast, you don't look at me.
Just because I'm painting.
Still don't look at me. So I don't know that could be a thing for you.
When we have a serious conversation, I look at you.
Yeah, I run. I got to get out of here. I got to go. There'll be none of that. The car ride with Matilda and Niles was, if you doubted, and watch us be completely wrong about this, watch her come here and pull a Michael.
No.
And disappear.
Not at all. Oh, the part that got me, I was sobbing.
We didn't watch this together if you haven't.
And I can't even say it.
Right. That's too bad.
When she said, I'll miss him so much, and who will do the cheek thing?
Right.
Just him. Who will do squishy squishy? Just him. Nobody else.
Yeah.
And she was genuinely sad about it, and that it was so endearing. Because most people would hate that.
Sure.
But it's a sweet thing they do together.
Yeah.
And it just tells you they love each other.
And I think everybody has things, whatever they are, right?
Like you breathing on my face.
It sounds disgusting, right?
It really does. With an open mouth like an infant.
Right.
Give you a kiss.
Right. And you couldn't even describe that to anybody and what that means. I would come to her in a sincere, tender moment where she'd believe I was going in for a kiss. I would just open my mouth and rest it on her cheek and
breathe.
And just breathe.
Like the way that an infant gives you a kiss. on the cheek.
So that's probably sick. That could be my psychiatrist should probably.
You've done it all the years I've known you, and it never ceases to make me laugh hysterically, uncontrollably.
And I think all that we have, right? You know, I think you say your love language is food, right?
And the way I express love to others is in preparing food.
Mine is to make you laugh.
Yes.
And when I can't make you laugh anymore, like, I don't know what I got for you.
Yeah.
I better start doing more of your car stuff, right?
You're right. You better put those wiper blades on.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. That's fun. But they were tears pouring down her face.
Yes, that's so genuine.
Yeah.
I love them. This whole season was worth watching for me, only for them.
What about Renee and Chitty?
No.
Forgot they were in this.
I'm enjoying the Vanya stuff, but I'm really confused.
Yeah. I thought that, he talked about his job. Do you think there's anything nefarious about his job situation?
I mean, he does have a disability, and so, he
could be a difficult, a challenging employee.
Yes. And while his job was to assist other people like himself, I get
why she would understand it. I think in many cultures, like jobs like that don't exist.
Right.
If you're not producing, it's not a job. There's just not, I don't want to say frivolous employment, but there's not a space for things like that. Like there wasn't space. I love they were putting everybody packing their suitcases. I just love theirs. It was another challenge. They should have gotten, I think, whoever got her into that girdle last week.
Oh my goodness.
That's who they should have had come pack that suitcase. That worked
her
pretty
corset.
good. Yeah. What did I say? The girdle.
Yeah.
But that's something. She even had, and I know obviously sometimes that we talk anything religious and we get some nasty emails, but that prayer that she held over him, was tender,
so sweet and heartfelt, and just
I really, really hope so much that they find a way to be together.
Yes, me too.
But I think he needs an advocate here. And this is where there was a discussion in the preview that Adnan did something to insult Niles' father.
Oh, I bet it's the African guy.
Oh, and not his actual
father. That's what it's going to be, because they wouldn't have his father on. He's not supportive.
Yeah, and so this is what I was thinking. It made me just stop mid-thought of that he needs support and an advocate here in the country.
Yeah, it's going to be Mr. whatever his name was.
Yeah, Ark.
Mr. Ark is going to be on.
Oh, boy, that was, I'm not trying to I guess, get into the previews, but whatever that was real.
Yeah, what the
Between
heck?
Niles and Adnan.
Yeah, he must have really been disrespectful to Mr. Ark.
Yeah, I think Adnan is a disrespectful person.
He seems that way. God.
Sometimes you get him being childish.
He's just kind of an a-hole.
Yeah, I don't think there's really any way around that at all.
Do you think it's the, male-led culture?
No, I think he's
that we find so offensive?
Well, no, it's possible, right? Because it's a culture you don't understand,
right?
But I think then it makes this a whole marriage thing really difficult, and we see it over and over again.
Yeah,
it's just really hard, and he didn't
unless you're Sonny, and you don't really subscribe to any of it. You just do it to keep your dad in your life.
We saw Tiger Lily's friends this time. Those two knuckleheads are just kind of doofuses.
Yeah.
And they put together these scenes, and they ask her, like, are you craving pickles and ice cream?
Yeah,
I'm just like, this really?
I was thinking the same thing.
This is what we're doing in episode 19.
Right. These two have not had any children.
Let's just squeeze another week out of all of us. Because there wasn't a whole lot to this week at all.
This is the limit of these two's knowledge of children and
pregnancy. This was it, right? Pickles and ice cream. Right. What is this? You watching the Dick Van Dyke Show?
Right.
Is what it is? This is Mary and Rob?
That's it, yeah. And they're twin beds.
Right. All just stuff. They were at, I meant to look, they were at some playground.
Outdoor playground equipment place.
Yes, near a Cracker Barrel. So I was then trying to put these two things together. And
probably somewhere in Frisco.
Yeah, but all of her scenes, other than the first one, haven't been in Frisco. That opening scene was, but everything else has still been, Arlington, Grapevine, this whole central area, which is if you're going to live in DFW, that's the middle, right? If you're going to live between Dallas and Fort Worth, then that's kind of it.
Yeah.
Right. Then you can get everywhere.
Arlington, Grand Prairie.
Instead of taking 2 hours to get home, it would only take you 1 hour to get home. So they're staying in a hotel until the house is finished.
Must be nice.
Yeah. I'm all confused about the money thing. And when you see the post-nup, and I see this power of attorney and his fighting it, I'm a bit conflicted. I get that he has his own business and whatever that is, but these are two people. We've probably never said this about a couple, but I think these two definitely need to keep their finances separate.
Yeah, it does seem that way.
I just get a real bad feeling about this.
Yeah, and so does she.
Yeah, maybe it's the brother. I just get a bad.
I just didn't like his attitude.
It's horrible.
His attitude made me suspicious.
Yeah, why are you fighting so much, right?
Right.
And even the friend.
And threatening to not go for his interview if he receives anything. That's some bull crap.
Yeah, and as it starts to go down...
She's pregnant.
The friends pop up.
I mean, it's a little late for that.
They pop up again. And, how if you had a friend and say you're making a mistake and you screwed up and it's done, like I did it, I messed up.
But now I gotta...
And your friend comes to you. This is your friend. Why did you do this when I told you not to?
Yeah.
I'm like, how helpful is that?
Yeah.
Now I feel even worse. Thank you. What's the why even matter in all of this? It would be, how do we help you move forward? Instead of this. You people get too hung up on the, I told you, or I said this.
It's like your kid knocked somebody up. How did this happen? Well, I think we know how this happened.
Right.
Now what are we going to do about it?
Well, it's like, didn't I tell you? It's like these kids in the stores. We talk about it all the time.
Making a scene.
I've taught you not to do that. I'm like, whatever. Right.
As they yell this at the top of their lungs.
Right. It's pointless. The visa stuff. If she wasn't pregnant.
Yeah. That's the thing.
Yeah. You could have a limited.
Stuck.
You think they could do a limited power of attorney in some way?
For his business dealings in the other country, yes.
So I think that's something.
And he says, what is there to talk about? That's the conversation. How do we resolve the fact that this makes me uneasy? He's not interested in resolving it.
Yeah, he doesn't care what makes her uneasy.
Right.
At all. And he's just a child. A man-child.
Yeah, he's just being a jerk.
And he's pouty, and I'm going to do it my way, or I'm not coming to get the visa. I go, you know what?
Okay.
Yeah, okay. We'll be all right. How about that? But, you can't say that. We probably, and I'm pretty sure we do, disagree about Vanya and Yashko, right? I took this whole scene, and there was some words back and forth. He was pretty clear that he says that she didn't want to have kids around. My thought on that is that she said that I have to make changes to the house, right?
Mm-hmm. To her lifestyle.
I get it. I didn't like the word "have to," and
she's been pretty clear that she had put this idea of motherhood out of her mind. It wasn't even a thought anymore. So she has to change her whole mindset and the way she's planned out the rest of her life now. And also make herself vulnerable again to the possibility of letting a child in who could be taken away from her.
I just got a bad feeling about this.
I felt like she was just when he came to visit, she was very honest about her feelings and her thought process and about what was expected of her. And I think she just kind of talked out loud and was open about it.
And it wasn't received so well?
And it wasn't well received, maybe because of the language barrier or, misunderstanding, or maybe he put too much weight on her voicing her thoughts as they came to her, but I don't think that she doesn't want motherhood. I think she did want it very much, but she was so deeply hurt before in a similar situation that she walled off the possibility in her heart because she couldn't be vulnerable in that way again. And so she's basically just talking out loud about changing her whole thought process and the whole direction of her life to something that she had written off.
I think for us, it's like we're watching different television shows. It's not that bad. But I felt like this was going to be a change. And I think she was making a big deal about the changes. And maybe it was the frequent conversations. When we were apart those years, I thought it was neat that they talked about, because we would have been in similar time zones when this happened, right?
Those years? What are you talking about?
The years when I was in Germany and you were here, and how we communicated.
The months, you mean?
By phone.
Yeah,
where
that was months.
She talked about, it said the years ago, where we had a morning, I would call you in the morning.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I could relate to that.
And then I would call you in the evening.
Right.
So with the time zones the way they are, there's probably at least 1, maybe 2 hours difference. I'm not sure the European time zone.
Somebody was probably greatly inconvenienced in order to make the calls happen.
Yeah, I think it wasn't necessarily too bad. I don't know that I was too inconvenienced about that, but it was.
But maybe it is for him because he has a child.
Possible.
You were a single person.
Yeah. But I was in the Army.
I was thinking maybe where this rift happened was when she said, I need us to keep this communication regular, because he had stopped calling in the evening. That for him, that was about spending time with his child, like after work or whatever. And he felt that was too demanding of his time away from his child. And she said, I need this to keep our relationship going. And so he felt she wasn't prioritizing his time with his child.
You see how
that's where I think it came, where he implied that she didn't have the motherly instincts. I think that it came from that.
You can put all that together, and it's a big deal. For her, obviously, she'd had a ton of freedom.
Right, exactly. And it's a big shift.
It would be a big change. And I guess maybe it would be scary.
Right, it is.
But it doesn't, I don't think it makes...
She's been pretty clear about that.
Either of them, and maybe either of their positions, not real.
Right, but I would think you would try and work through that and see what came of it, rather than going, I just don't think this is going to work, and then ghosting her.
Yeah, I'm anxious to see if he is on the tell-all. We didn't see him. We did see her first
Bojo.
one. Yeah, I would have said that this is a lot for Yasko and Vanya because they hadn't spent so much time together. But the trip he made back to the States was the changer. That was the time when their relationship, I think,
advanced
changed
a little bit. Yeah.
I don't know. She does kind of, and maybe it's producer induced, that call. And it seems like she's kind of putting pressure on him, to come when she goes to visit, and if he wants that. So
she kind of voiced with the side interview before that she realized she wasn't ready to let go of the relationship.
Yeah.
She was hoping to, give it another go.
He looked really impacted by having to leave the child with his parents. It seemed like a big deal. And that may have been a game changer for him.
And I think it was. He may have been then looking for additional reasons. You know what I mean?
Like a way out?
Yes.
It's possible. You think Sonny's looking for a way out?
He's not going to make it.
I don't know. Of all the weeks,
I was surprised that he stood up to his dad. But I believe that...
Well, he didn't stand up. He was still sitting.
Stand up as in said he would be with her.
Yeah.
If he had to choose. Despite that, I feel that he is essentially a child and that he will not do well alone without contact with his family and friends after she leaves.
Yeah, I think he's like a flag.
He's going to fold like a wet blanket.
You fold wet blankets?
It will fold like a wet blanket, like plop. Like
I would say he's like a flag.
In a puddle.
He's just going to blow whichever way the wind is going, If you go with body language, him sitting there, at times, he's covering up his face.
Yeah.
Sitting there.
I did find it interesting that he said that his father had not been in his life.
You're right.
As a child. And that he had since reconciled.
I wonder what that means. We don't know, right?
Seems like he wasn't... We've never seen him and the mother together. So it seems like he wasn't a part of his childhood. Like they were together.
He could have moved to South Africa first.
Right.
And maybe they came later.
Right.
It's possible. I don't remember this backstory enough, or maybe we don't know that much about it. But that's a possibility other than they just separated in some way.
Yeah, so this is why he's not anxious to end things, because he apparently just got his dad in his life.
His dad's not a friendly, happy person.
He's not.
Just in general.
No.
At all. So I'm not sure what...
He's a lot like... He reminds me of, in fact...
Watch yourself.
Sumit's mother.
I don't know. He at least seems to... I don't know. I can't tell his resting face. She's mean. She's vengeful and mean and nasty. He's just in a bad mood all the time.
No, he seems very much like her. Ready to shoot you in the face. Basically.
This cake that she gave him appeared to be, when I looked at it, it looked to be like the oak leaves from our front yard on a cake.
It looked like shaved chocolate, like in sheets, dropped on the face of a cake in a very haphazard, sloppy way.
It looked like leaves from our front yard. You took a handful. Said, why did you, when I saw it the first time.
It did not look appealing.
Why did you, who would want this cake? Her theory is that the chocolate will make him in a good mood. It
did not?
Well, yeah, he didn't eat it. He seemed really, why did you bring me a cake? Little cake, big cake, it doesn't matter. I don't like this girl, is what he said. He wouldn't have liked anything that she brought.
No.
The shocker.
He said, I can't even look on her face.
Yeah.
And I don't want to look at Sonny's anymore.
He said it's too late. It's too late to apologize. This is like, a can of those busted biscuits. You can't put them back in the can once they're out. So I guess that's like her apology. That stuff doesn't go back in the tube very easily.
Much like her skin that was hanging out of that shirt and jacket.
Well, you know,
she first
everything was spilling out. How about the cream that dude spilled on the floor?
Wow. Sour milk. Oh my gosh. Could you imagine?
He wiped it up. Look,
with a rag. And it was on the rug.
I believe that our teenage son
would clean in a similar manner?
Maybe even better. He was just wiping it under the carpet, under the rug.
Yeah, that was gross.
It was
Imagine
everywhere.
how bad that'll smell later.
Yeah, nobody's cleaning that.
Gross.
Because people are going to be sitting there playing checkers.
Yeah, and I was looking at people in the background. They were all smiling and laughing. I'm like, wow.
I wonder what this place was.
I don't know.
That was something. Sonny looked shamed the whole time.
He did.
He's covering his face.
It's all my fault.
I did
wrong. I should have asked your permission.
At the tell-all, Bea wasn't there. But there was no surprises who we saw. Did you see the panel at the tell-all?
I don't think so.
Adnan was the only one there, and Bea wasn't in the studio. So no surprises and no great revelations about somebody came who we'd hoped for. So Matilda wasn't there. So that's no good.
Right.
How he got to a point, the dad said, maybe you have to go your way and I go my way. That's a hard line.
Yeah, and then
it's a hard one.
Get away from me. I don't want to see you or hear from you again.
Call me. Like, that's wicked.
Don't expect my help in the future.
Yeah, I'm not even telling you what to do anymore. You just have to get away from me. Do you think he knows what he's doing and that Sonny will just come back?
Yep.
Like this is a part of his master plan?
It's part of the culture. Isn't that what they did to Submit?
They kidnapped him and forced him to marry somebody. That's the next step in this, right?
Yeah.
That's how you do this. Yeah. I'm surprised, because the tell-all is still sometime later. I'm surprised. It wouldn't have surprised me if he wasn't a part of the tell-all.
He even said, the dad said, that it would bring shame on the whole family if people knew that Sonny married a Christian who didn't convert.
Oopsie.
And this is why he has to go a separate way.
Yeah, I'd love to know the backstory. What that's about. I don't remember. It's hard to remember all this stuff. But I don't know that we knew. I knew that his dad owns the store, and he's in the store. Helping in the store. I think just the end of the season episode. Nothing too crazy. Right? For us, we will cover... We should be back. I think there should be a couple more episodes of 1,000 Pound Sisters before that season ends. We haven't seen that. It'll almost be 3 weeks tomorrow.
Wow. Last Resort was on this evening. You know what else hasn't been on for several weeks is Hoarders. I'm not caught up on that. Yeah, it hadn't shown for like 3 weeks. What's that? You don't even know what normal night that's on. I believe it's Monday. The TV schedule thing. Like everybody takes a break now. Right? TBA to be announced bunch of for new the next shows, episode every week. So bunch of new shows starting. It seems like it used to be new shows would start in the fall. Yeah. And now it appears everybody's waiting until after Christmas. Yeah, very strange because Law & Order's on a big, long mid-season break. Nothing in the month of December. And it doesn't start up again until I think the end of January. But the good news is your show of shows has started. Yes, I haven't gotten to see it yet, but... Didn't you watch one of them? When Calls the Heart? No, it was on last night. You didn't see the first one? That was the first one. First episode was last night. Oh. What were you watching the other day? Was that a different one? Oh, that was a different show you were watching.
What's the one where they live out in the...
Virgin River.
Virgin River.
Yeah, I watched the first episode of
So
Virgin
that's
River.
that.
That's the final season.
Ah.
So I'm not trying to binge it because
You're
when
taking
it's
your
over,
time.
it's over.
They just dropped all those at
They
once?
They dropped them all at once.
So those are
Netflix.
shows, your I can't even say those are guilty pleasures, because there's nothing really guilty about those two shows,
No,
right?
they're very clean, both of them. Yeah.
So what, Virgin River
Very
and When
wholesome.
Calls the Heart.
Yeah, I love Virgin River.
So,
I will miss that show. Very sweet characters.
Yeah. See, there's stuff. I don't know. You know what I watch?
You don't watch the two clean shows.
I see that. I know the characters. It would be like when you were watching Real Housewives in town, right, in the house. And then I would just be around. And so I know who the characters are. I got a gist of what's going on, you know?
You know, that last time I visited my mom before she passed away would have been 2013.
Mm-hmm.
My brother walked in and I was watching Real Housewives. And he, shamed me up one side and down the other. Now, you know this brother.
Yeah, I get it.
What business did he have shaming me about anything? I ain't living any of that that's on TV.
Right.
So, there's probably more than he could say.
That would be a guilty pleasure, right?
But
Real
he
Housewives
was
of Beverly
me
Hills.
in front of our mother about watching Real Housewives.
Well, you know
just
what
laughing,
I do. Somebody pulls that crap with me, especially with my family.
Uh-huh.
I'm waiting for the time that I get to just drop the bombs on everybody. I'm going nuclear. Are we ready? I'd probably announce it and go, you know what? It's going down now. This is the last conversation we're all going to have.
You remember that time?
Because I'm dropping bombs. Remember this? I wonder if they forget.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, people have selective memories.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, so that's it.
I could have said, "Oh, really? You think that's bad? You remember that time you molested me?"
Right? Isn't that funny? Yeah, I get it. Right?
Yeah,
this is what
that
I'm
was
saying.
bad.
Yeah. So how about that? Well, this podcast turned in a funny direction. So there's that.
Well, when you come from our family.
Yeah, that's how it works. So for us, this is what happens when you wait till Monday. Right? So,
a little more slap happy.
Yeah, that's it. So enjoy the rest of your week.
I think we're getting snowed in.
Yeah, here's what happens.
2 weeks ago, it was 80 degrees.
We're in Texas, right? And so we're not from Texas.
Mm-mm.
I'm from Michigan. Let's call you from Virginia, as most of your time was spent in Virginia. Yeah. So we see some snow there. But Texas, this place goes on lockdown. They don't even know how to. They don't even know how to manage roads.
We can't even keep power on.
And there are so many overpasses over overpasses. Mm-hmm. What are they? The Mixmaster is what, the famous one here is called. Mm-hmm. And so
I just say it's the Jetsons come to life.
They don't even know.
The sky.
They don't know how to do anything with the roads, and so if it snows, then people just sit and hide.
Have 120 car pileups.
It literally is what happens.
Literally.
I thought you salted that road. No, I thought you salted it. Well, we salted it 3 days ago.
We did it 3 days ago. Isn't that good enough?
Whatever.
Meanwhile, FedEx trucks are slamming on top of other
that
trucks.
Was wicked.
That was horrible.
So, they had somebody new around. I explained that to him today. So
bodies flying out of vehicles. That was really wicked.
It was something else. And so it's got the area really scared of that. And I think if you don't normally get snow, you probably should be scared of it. So for us, just some cold.
Anywhere.
Right. Last time this happened, we lost power for a couple of days. So,
3 days.
Yeah, it was 3 days without power.
Full 72 hours.
So we didn't podcast then, but it got back up for us just in time to do another show. Mm-hmm. So for us, tomorrow, my birthday tomorrow.
Yay, happy birthday.
What am I, 67?
Happy birthday.
67 is what I am tomorrow?
54.
54 is what I am.
Today is our last official day being the same age.
We are the same age, so that's that. So I'm an old man. I would assume we're the oldest 90-day podcasters.
Probably.
Yeah, because I think most people our age, I don't know, the working equipment can be a little tricky. Right?
Right.
And we stop.
At least we can run our phones, right?
We just, the only time we miss this if I'm chasing people out of the front yard. Get off my lawn. Get off my leaves that look like Veya's cake. You can do that. So for us, look, we'll stop rambling. Have a wonderful rest of the week. Subscribe. 1,000-Pound Sisters will be back. Inside Scoop. We talk about The Last Resort.
The boy goes back to school tomorrow.
Personal podcast. Yeah, really back to the routine. He's had 9 weeks off of school.
It seems like
Thank you for listening.
You can listen to additional episodes
by subscribing to our Coupled with Chaos channel on Apple,
by subscribing to our Patreon,
or by subscribing to our Supercast
for $3.99 a month,
where you can hear us talk about reality shows,
real life, and more on our podcast,
covering shows airing on TLC, A&E, Bravo, and the WE Network.
Just follow the instructions in the show notes.
Tell your friends about this podcast,
and rate and review us on your favorite podcast player.
Follow us at Coupled with Chaos and all the socials.
Or contact us directly by email at coupledwithchaos@gmail.com.